Good luck convincing any remaining American that is even remotely aware of what the fuck's going on here that, like, Israel doesn't control the country. Like, remember, these are U.S. diplomats being ordered to speak this way. This is line for line Israeli talking points.
I've also been working relentlessly stopping the killing in Ukraine. I thought that would be, of the 7 wars that I stopped, I thought that would be the easiest because of my relationship with President Putin, which had always been a good one. I thought that was going to be the easiest one. But, you know, in war, you never know what's going to happen. There are always lots of surprises, both good and bad. Everyone thought Russia would win this war in 3 days, but it didn't work out that way. It was supposed to be just a quick little skirmish. It's not making Russia look good. It's making them look bad. No matter what happens from here on out, this was something that should have taken a matter of days, certainly less than a week. And they've been fighting for 3.5 years and killing anywhere from 5,000 to 7,000 young soldiers, mostly soldiers, on both sides, every single week, from 5,000 to 7,000 dead young people, and some in cities, much smaller numbers, where rockets are shot, where drones are dropped. This war would never have started if I were president. This was a war that should have never happened. In the event that Russia is not ready to make a deal to end the war, then the United States is fully prepared to impose a very strong round of powerful tariffs, which would stop the bloodshed, I believe, very quickly. But for those tariffs to be effective, European nations, all of you are gathered here right now, would have to join us in adopting the exact same measures. I mean, you're much closer to the city. We have an ocean in between. You're right there. And Europe has to step it up. They can't be doing what they're doing. They're buying oil and gas from Russia while they're fighting Russia. It's embarrassing to them, and it was very embarrassing to them when I found out about it, I can tell you that. But they have to immediately cease all energy purchases from Russia. Otherwise, we're all wasting a lot of time. So I'm ready to discuss this. We're going to discuss it today with the European nations, all gathered here. I'm sure they're thrilled to hear me speak about it, but that's the way it is. I like to speak my mind and speak the truth.
Speaking of Russia, Donald Trump has come out and retriangulated the American position back to where it was before he got into the White House. New from President Trump, moments after meeting with President Zelensky on the sidelines of the United Nations General Assembly. I think Ukraine, with the support of the European Union, is in a position to fight and win all of Ukraine back in its original form. With time, patience, and the financial support of Europe, and in particular NATO, the original borders from where this war started is very much an option. Putin and Russia are in big economic trouble, and this is the time for Ukraine to act. In any event, I wish both countries well. We will continue to supply weapons to NATO for NATO to do what they want with them. Then what did Putin say to him? It's not what Putin said to him. It's the fact that it was very clear from the jump that the concessions that Putin was demanding were so ridiculous and so maximalist that this shit was going to play out on the battlefield. This is why I wasn't as hard, with the exception of like when he was dunking on Zelensky. I wasn't as hard on Donald Trump as I normally would on this issue alone, because this is almost entirely out of his hands. Do you understand? There is not really much he could do in this situation to change the dynamic. So it was either going full, like Brandon could have done a lot more when Ukraine had more leverage, but they obviously did not have that investment. They obviously did not care about it, but only because like it was the battle lines look different. You know what I mean? That's it. But at this stage, it's, you know, it's completely outside of our hands, you know?
Thank you very much. Any questions?
Mr. President, do you think that NATO countries should shoot down Russian aircraft if they enter their airspace?
Yes, I do.
Mr. President, any update on your talks with President Putin, and do you still trust him?
I'll let you know in about a month from now, okay?
President Trump,
But he campaigned on being able to stop it. Yes, guys, he's a fucking liar. What else is new? He also campaigned on stopping Israel. He campaigned on being the peace president. Why did you believe him? I said over and over again that this was a lie. I mean, I don't think any of you believed him. I think you're just simply bringing that up as a point, as though it matters. He lied about everything. He lies. Hello. Welcome to the real world, I guess.
your
Are
message
you
to
willing
the...
to provide Ukraine with the security guarantees the same way as European allies
Well,
do?
that's later down the road. We'll be talking about that. Hopefully, we'll be in a position to talk about that a little bit later on. It's a little bit too early to answer.
Why
that
do you
question.
think Mr. Putin is not
Yeah, go
willing
ahead,
to meet
Mitch.
with both of you?
President Trump, your message to President Orban, who is refusing to stop buying Russian oil.
Well, he's a friend of mine. I have not spoken to him, but I have a feeling if I did, he might stop, and I think I'll be doing that.
Thank you.
Could end for a long time.
Mr. President, have you been briefed on the latest alleged drone incursion into Denmark? What do you think of that? And
Where? Where are they?
Into Denmark, Copenhagen. Denmark is saying that there were some drones that shut down an airport, possibly Russian sabotage. What's your response to that? Will the U.S. have a material
Well, I
response
have
to that?
no response until I find out exactly what happened. I know about it, but they don't know what happened. But we're going to find out very soon.
Sir.
Would you back up NATO allies? You said that you thought that they should shoot down the Russian aircraft. Would you back them up? Would the United States help them out in some way?
Depends on the circumstance, but we're very strong toward NATO. NATO has stepped up. When they went from 2% to 5%, that was great unity. Trillions of dollars is being pumped in, and they're paying us for the weapons that we send. But that was a big day. That nobody thought a thing like that could happen. You had countries that weren't paying 2%, and now they're all paying 5%. They've proven they're very brave. I mean, look, they're fighting, and this is a war going on 3.5 years, and people thought it would be over quickly because Russia's a big military power, and Ukraine, I tell you, they are good fighters. Got to hand it to them. They have a lot of courage, a lot of guts. Thank you very much, everyone.
Last week, he literally said, it's great for us. We keep selling the weapons to NATO, and they keeps giving us money. So if you want to understand where his what his intentions are here, it's just he got the boss call. He got the Raytheon, Lockheed Martin, Palantir, Northrop Grumman, Boeing boss call, and was just like, great, okay, we'll just, there's not really much you can do anyway. Might as well make money, I guess.
Everyone knows I have also been deeply engaged in seeking a ceasefire in Gaza. Have to get that done. Have to
Yeah, deeply engaged. Suck my dick.
get it done. Unfortunately, Hamas has repeatedly rejected reasonable offers.
Once again, full Brandon, full Anthony Blinken, full Brandon, just straight up lies, straight up fucking lies, being like, oh yeah, it was Hamas that ruined the deals. Like, no, that's bullshit. It's been bullshit. Israel killed principal negotiators. Like, Israel openly tanked these deals that they were trying to make every step of the way. It has been Israel that has ruined these negotiations every step of the fucking way. Of course, all the debunkers and the fact checkers are not going to be debunking this and fact checking this, which is part of the reason why whenever you ask me like, oh, why did you dunk on the debunkers? This is part of the reason why I was dunking on them. It's shit like this that they don't actually present the truth on. And it's actually quite consequential, but it's a uniparty position, so you won't hear liberals actually correct the record on this either. Of course, most Americans have come to recognize the reality because no matter how dumb people may be, at a certain point, they're going to be like, okay, dude, it kind of feels like this is not corresponding to what Israel is saying about the situation. Because it's not like Israel's hiding it. They're like, no, we are not going to do this deal. We're not going to do this deal. We're never going to do this deal. Fuck you. Suck my dick.
To make peace. We can't forget October 7th, can we? Now, as if to encourage continued conflict, some of this body is seeking to unilaterally recognize a Palestinian state. The rewards would be too great.
This is straight up. This motherfucker is basically reading out an Israel written public relations note. Okay, this is a press release. Straight up. This is identical to what Israel said. Oh, you're rewarding terrorism. You're rewarding terror by recognizing the Palestinian state. Now is not the time. Might as well have just like gotten a note directly from Benjamin Netanyahu. Here, by the way, talking points were leaked to Ken Leakenstein. The show U.S. diplomats instructed to call accusations of Israeli genocide a politically motivated and categorically false propaganda campaign. This is an action request. The department instructs USUN to draw from the talking points in paragraph 2 for the September 23rd, 2025 UN Security Council open briefing on the Middle East. It is deeply regrettable that council members opted to convene this high-level UNSC briefing on Gaza on Rosh Hashanah, the Jewish New Year, knowing full well that the decision excludes Israel. Ugh. Everything is anti-Semitism, dude. It is a statement to how this council has prioritized performative grandstanding over serious efforts to advance peace. Yeah, you're deeply unserious. You're deeply unserious. You are actually getting in the way of a peace deal that was imminent, that is always destroyed by Hamas, of course. Except it's not. It's literally fucking always Israel. The main outcome has been to embolden Hamas and to undermine and disrupt negotiations aimed at freeing all the hostages and ending the war, which, again, I think we all know there is no interest from the Israeli side in actually securing the hostages whatsoever. In the last 2 weeks alone, Israel suffered 2 terrorist attacks in Jerusalem on September 8th and the Allenby border crossing on September 18th. We condemn these attacks, offer condolences to the families of those killed, and call upon other countries to join us in clear, explicit condemnation of this violence by Hamas and its ideological allies. Poor Israel, man. Extremists like the terrorists who killed 2 IDF soldiers on September 18th have shown their utter contempt for the people of Gaza by striking the very border crossing through which 45% of aid delivered to Gaza between May and September this year has passed. No country would willingly allow terrorists to threaten its people, and Israel is no different. Israel has the right to defend itself from groups that wish it to do harm. You cannot do a genocide in an act of self-defense. Fucking bullshit. As Secretary Rubio said, as long as Hamas exists, there will never be peace in the Middle East. Every member here has seen evidence of how Hamas has starved hostages and heard the testimony of freed hostages on what they endured in captivity. Some endure still, and we again demand Hamas immediately release all 48 remaining hostages, cease putting civilians to harm's way, disarm and surrender. This war could end if that happened. Once again, Hamas has brought forward all of those talking points in negotiations. Israel is the one that says, nope, we're not going to do that because we want to continue doing our ethnic cleansing and ethnic displacement campaign. It does not fucking matter. But Hamas refuses while Israel has accepted negotiators' proposals. That's fucking bullshit, not real at all. Rewarding Hamas's refusal, whether with performative conferences or one-sided Security Council resolutions, undermines and delays achieving peace. It feels like I'm going insane when I have to listen to like official organs of justice and government officials just play along with this song and dance that it is always Hamas that's ruining the deals. But because Islamophobia is so pervasive and so powerful a force that it kind of doesn't matter, because most people are still, even if they're anti-Israel, they still find themselves engaging with this narrative. Like the "but Hamas" dispersal cloud is so goddamn successful. But Hamas refuses. Yesterday's conference was an ill-conceived publicity stunt. It will prolong the war in Gaza. Oh my God, it will prolong the war in Gaza. That's definitely not something that Israel wants, for sure. Embolden Hamas, rewards obstruction, undermine efforts to achieve peace both in the short and long term. Unilateral recognition statements don't alter the reality. There is no Palestinian state. It is also clear there is no credible Palestinian partner for peace at this time. The Palestinian Authority leaders from Ramallah are absent from New York this week because they failed to meet their own Oslo commitments. No, it's because Donald Trump banned them from entering the country. And those guys are a part of the fucking Israeli security apparatus, by the way. They're not even favored by the Palestinian population. They are the second least popular entity in the region in the eyes of the Palestinians. Anyone who knows anything about Palestinian approval ratings knows that Israel is the number one enemy, and the Palestinian Authority is seen as the second least popular entity in the region because it plays a formative role in the Israeli security apparatus in the West Bank. It literally will kidnap and coordinate efforts to squash any sort of militancy in the West Bank that is engaging in a legal and moral right to resistance of occupied peoples. The commitments were basic, including renouncing terrorism and state violence and resolving issues through direct negotiations. The PA even failed to clear those low bars. The PA attempts to bypass negotiations through its lawfare, including at the ICC and ICJ, and it pushes for unilateral recognition of statehood. This diplomatic change is disappointing. Charade is disappointing. It is clearly fueled by domestic politics and has given Hamas a reward for refusing to surrender, as well as an incentive to keep holding hostages in subhuman conditions. We call on the council members of the UN to change course and focus instead on how to eliminate Hamas, free the hostages, and create a framework so Gaza can have a better future than the life they have endured under terrorists. Oh my God, just so many fucking talking points, okay? If needed, allegations of genocide. These accusations are politically motivated and categorically false. They are a part of the deliberate, cynical propaganda campaign as Hamas attempts to win symbolic victories to compensate for total defeat in war. The United States refutes those allegations entirely. The United States fully supports Israel's right to defend itself against Hamas's terrorism. Israel's taken an unprecedented... Dude, good luck convincing any remaining American that is even remotely aware of what the fuck's going on here that, like, Israel doesn't control the country. Like, remember, these are U.S. diplomats being ordered to speak this way. This is line for line Israeli talking points. Like, this is crazy. The demands being made over and over again is that you are just a shill for Israel. You have to be unconditionally a shill for Israel. And yes, it is identical to what the fucking bullshit Biden was saying too. Biden trashed the ICC, rejected the application for arrest warrants for Netanyahu and Gallant, trashed the ICJ and said there was no genocide. That's his legacy.
Let me be clear. We reject the ICC's application for arrest warrants against Israeli leaders. Whatever these warrants may imply, there is no equivalence between Israel and Hamas. And it's clear Israel wants to do all it can to ensure civilian protection. But let me be clear. Contrary to allegations against Israel made by the International Court of Justice, what's happening is not genocide. We reject that. We're going to always stand with Israel and the threats against its security.
It's just like, it's so fucking embarrassing to see so many goddamn Americans genuflect this way as well when the population is obviously way more aware of what is going on, in spite of the horrible ways they think of like Muslims as a whole or whatever, or how fearful they are. And the only way out of this is by just increasing the intensity of the Islamophobia. It's going to get so much worse, I think, for Muslims in this country. I'm seeing it already. There's no other way out of it. You have to make it seem as though Israel is fighting this just war against pure evil. Islam is the pure evil that is destroying the Western world. It's already happening in a lot of European capitals. They're just going to keep pushing it. They're going to push it way past the point of like 2001, post 2001, post 9/11 Islamophobia narratives. I just don't know. I don't know how you clear that up. I don't know how you get like the average American to understand that like Muslims are just like you know, regular ass people, and they're not like a monolithic force of evil that's trying to destroy the Western world. They're just trying to live their goddamn lives.
The pride of being able to be here and do work that facilitates making things better for people, and in the greatest country on earth, next to Israel. It is.
Hey, look. This is once again, Trump's State Department spokesperson said Israel is the greatest country on earth.
The pride of being able to be here and do work that facilitates making things better for people, and in the greatest country on earth, next to Israel. It is. And it's an honor to be able to make a difference and to be able to speak in this regard with an administration that I love so much, and that I feel genuinely represents.
Whenever I hear an American official talk, it feels like there is an Israeli hand shoved so far up their asshole that they're basically moving the American official's mouth. That's what it feels like to me. And it gets even the more evangelical they are, the worse this narrative is, the more insane it is.